This is Brenda Meller, and I've been hard at work all morning long at home here. And many of you know I'm now self-employed. I've got my own business, Meller Marketing, and I'm actually making more of a conscious effort lately to block more afternoons and mornings and stuff just to get productive work done, because I'm finding like my time just kind of goes away. It just kind of, it's like sand through your hands. It just kind of slips away unless you block the time off. And I am absolutely loving my job. Meller Marketing is the most amazing thing I ever could have done for myself, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm having an absolute blast and a lot of fun with all the work that I'm doing. But I've noticed there's some days like today where I have myself blocked off pretty much all day. And I did have a webinar this morning that I delivered to a client. So I have had human interaction with other people. But there's been some days where I'm just hanging out at home and there's not a lot of interaction. And today's one of these days where I actually sat down, made my to-do list. I'm working my way through my to-do list. And I just feel like I need like a study break, if you will. I've been working really hard and I need to break from what I'm doing for my work. And I just need to recharge myself mentally. So what I'm doing is a Facebook Live video, and what prompted me to start this is earlier today when I was getting ready for my client webinar, I have a slide in my client presentations where I actually show example of headshot photos and examples of header images that you can look at adding to your LinkedIn. And every time I do a client presentation, I always review the examples I've given and just kind of refresh myself. Is there anything I would change differently in there? So I have, like, in my phone, I actually have a notes app in my phone with examples of header images that I really, really enjoy. And I think they've done a really nice job with them. So for my client presentation, I went through and I updated and I saw some new header images and I replaced some other ones in there too. And I just thought it'd be kind of cool to share with you some of these header images that I really like on the profile. So what you should be seeing on your screen right now is my desktop, and you're seeing my LinkedIn profile. And the header image is this rectangular image that falls behind your headshot photo on LinkedIn. And a lot of times when you're on LinkedIn, I'm going to navigate around here just to show you a couple examples. A lot of times when you're looking at people's profiles on LinkedIn, you're going to notice they have, he's got a branded header, which is good. But you're going to notice sometimes they have header images that are just that generic background. Let's see what David has on here. So David's got an example of this, and it's just this header background where there's nothing wrong with it. This is the default. This is what LinkedIn gives you when you set up your account. And I always tell people your header image on LinkedIn, it's, basically it's like LinkedIn is giving you a free billboard on the side of the expressway. And when people land on your profile, it's an opportunity for you to do some branding for yourself, do some branding for your business, do some branding for your industry. And, everything I do on LinkedIn is always focused on what are my business goals, what are my career goals, and how can my profile help me to get there. So I look at this header image as this opportunity to do some advertising and marketing in the background. And I really see it as a lost opportunity if you're just on that teal blue with the dots and the lines that are kind of interconnected. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of my favorite LinkedIn headers that I've stumbled across and just give you some explanation of what I like about them. So I'm going to start you off here with Topouzian. Ara is head of the Troy Chamber of Commerce, which is one of my favorite chambers. Done a lot of events with the chamber over the years, and Meller Marketing is now a member of the Troy Chamber, so happy about that. And Ara's got a great headshot photo. He and I use the same headshot photographer, Scott Lawrence, but what I'm focusing on right now is this header image in the background. And if you live in Troy, Michigan, you might recognize that this is actually an aerial shot of Troy, Michigan. And I think this is just a really cool header image. If you are familiar with Troy in the area, you probably know this is Big Beaver. And I'm not sure if this is overlooking the skywalk or where this is at exactly, Ara, but maybe you could tell us how that photo was taken. But this is a great example of a header image that aligns with the person's profession and what he's passionate about, the Troy, Michigan area. So that's my first example, Ara Topouzian. Next example I want to show you, this is Jill Thomas. And a while back I was doing a presentation with Terry Barkley of Inforum, and we were presenting for International Women's Day, and I was trying to find an example of a great header image that would, resonate well with the group, and I wanted to find something that aligned with an industry. And I did a search for different people, and I was looking up brands. And Jill's was the first brand that that I pulled up, and she actually had this header image in the background. She works for Cinnabon, the place that creates these awesome, gooey, sticky, just decadent cinnamon buns. And Jill's got this product image in the back of her on her LinkedIn, and I just thought, great opportunity for advertising, for reminding people the industry that she supports and the products and services that her company does. And guys, I don't know about you, my mouth is watering looking at this image right now. I just think these Cinnabons look like absolutely amazing. So you can almost smell them. You can smell the cinnamon if you kind of imagine it a little bit in your head. So that's an example of Cinnabon. And now what I want to do is I want to click over to Connor. And Connor Patterson works for General Mills, and I recently delivered a LinkedIn training session to their group. And before the session, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Connor had the teal blue. And during the session, we talked about the importance of this header image and how you can use it for branding and for promoting your products and service. And I said, God, you know, you guys work for General Mills. There has to be product shots that you can use. And then I went on his profile a little after the session, and lo and behold, he has a new header image in the background. And I commented back to Connor, and I just thought it was great. You know, we've got Cheerios in the background over here. Let's see if I can click on here. Looks like there's some Betty Crocker cake mix. You got Haagen-Dazs ice cream, all these great products that are in the background here. And one thing that's really important when you're looking at your header image is consider the fact of where your headshot photo shows on your profile here. And in this case, I'm looking at Connor's profile in desktop mode. Now, when I look in desktop mode, your photo is going to be left aligned on this header image. If I were to look at Connor's profile on my mobile phone using the LinkedIn app, his header image would actually be in the center, and it'd be covering this box of granola bars. So I think he's done a nice job here because you can kind of see it's a variety of products that are across the screen, and he's not covering any one key message. He has put the text at the top of the page that says General Mills billion-dollar brands, and kind of that tagline that goes along with that. But all the products, you can kind of see there's a variety of things. So I really like this. And I even commented back to him. I said, I think I'm going to have some Cheerios for breakfast, and I've got at least 2 or 3 of those products in my refrigerator and covered at home. So again, Connor, congratulations. Great header image, really great brand ambassador for your organization, and do a little bit of promotion for your products and services there too. All right, moving along. I'm not sure how I've met Rob, but his was one of the profiles. When I first landed on it, I just was like, wow, that's a cool header image. And Rob works for a company called Global LT, and does a lot with international business. And I just thought this is such a cool image. It's hands, and there's like a picture of the world that's, I don't know if it's painted on. I think it's painted on. Maybe it's just a screen that's ghosted on top of it. But I just really like that image. I thought it was really powerful. It's interesting to look at. But more importantly, it lines up with Rob's professional brand and lines up for what he does with his business, Global LT. So that's another example here. And here's another one, Shannon Brodie. And Shannon and I don't know if we met through in forum or if it was just a profile I stumbled upon, but I really love this image at the top, and it kind of reminds me of jellyfish or something. And I did reach out to Shannon a while back, and I asked her if it was where the image was from, and it was a lighting display, and she shared that with me. This is just an example of a really great artistic image that's being used in the background. And what I like about this is Shannon works for DTE, which is, electric and lighting company, so it works well. It's interesting. It's taken something that, it's more of a commodity, energy and energy utilization, and she's made it into something very interesting in her header here on LinkedIn. So that's an example of Shannon's header image there on LinkedIn. All right, so moving along, we're going to talk about David, Bann, and David and I met at Leader Dogs for the Blind, which is located up in Rochester, Michigan. And I don't remember what he had in his header before we met, but I was just saying, part of this, his work is that he does there for Leader Dogs is he works on this program called the Power, I think it's Harness the Power of Leadership is actually the name of the program. And you see he's got the HPL icon in the background there. And central to their whole program is this Leader Dog program. And they actually, bring in the dogs when they're puppies, and they work through a training program. They actually have volunteers that adopt the puppies and work with them on training them, and then return them to leader dogs when they're ready to be matched with a client. And it's just such a cute image, you know, puppies and dogs, and he's got his little kerchief on there that says future leader dog, and just a really great image. And then David's got great headshot photo with the blue in the background there, so some nice brand alignment in there as well. So very cool image, and again, just another example of an image that's kind of supporting his organization. All right, so moving on, here's another image, and full disclosure, Howard is a client of mine. I work with Davis & Davis, which is an interior design, interior architecture firm, and they just do absolutely amazing design work. And when I first started working with Howard, I worked with him and his team on updating their LinkedIn profiles. And periodically, we'll actually change this image out that appears in the background. And this is actually an image, it's kind of an aerial shot, I believe, from a lobby that was designed by Howard and team. So really great, you know, nice alignment with the work that he does, and showcases some of the expertise that they have in-house, and, you know, just showcases his design skills. And I really love the fact that it's this bright white image, you know, cool lighting effects. You can kind of get a little glimpse of the tile that appears below there as well. And interesting here, so we've got Howard's picture left aligned in the desktop. If we go into mobile, his picture's underneath, so it just covers a little bit of the center there. But again, really nice way of showcasing your work there. So that's an example of another image for, and again, this is for an interior designer. All right, so moving on, here's another one, and this one is, I'm not even sure how I stumbled upon Fraser Cameron here, but we're connected on LinkedIn, and you know, the first thing I noticed when I fell on his profile, he's using emojis in his headline, which I do as well. But then the other thing was just this cool color image that he's got in the background on his header. And he's a coach helping dads become epic dads, and it's all about creating the time and freedom so you can truly live. I just love this whole focus on what it is that he is all about, what he's doing, what he's passionate about, and I just love the adorable image. I'm assuming that's him and one of his kids at the top there, but it's just one of these images, just very interesting. And a subtle effect here, as a marketer, I can appreciate this. A subtle effect is that both the adult and the child are both looking at the call to action, which is this website and the email address. So that's an effect that we as marketers use. We will have our subjects in the photographs look towards the call to action, whether that's a click here button or register now, or in this case, a web and an email. I thought that was really clever. So both the color, you know, all the effects I really love on that header image. All right, moving on, here's another one here. This is for Tanya Abreu, and Tanya works for, let's see if I scroll down to her profile. I think she's got a couple things listed on here. So she is on the adjunct faculty at Florida International University, and then she's also the National Director for Healthcare at the Women's Choice Award. And I just love this bubble effect that she's got. I'm not sure if this is one of those globes that you see in the garden in the backyard rather, or if it's actually a giant bubble, but I just love the color effect. And it almost reminds me of a globe, and, you know, showing Earth and all the color patterns. Love the rainbow effect of the swirl and everything, and I just thought it's a really interesting looking header image in the background there. So that's Tanya's example. All right, moving on, here's another one of my favorites. This is Craig Fry, and I love, you know, everything is, there's brand continuity throughout here. He has a headline that says, I help promote your story with custom lapel pins. Cool header photo. He's got a great kind of branded orange background header, and then the cap with all of these pins on it. And I reached out to him, and I do a lot of talks and presentations, and I've been focusing more on pie, my love of pie in my presentations, and been very well received. It has nothing to do with social media or marketing. It's just something I love to talk about, and often I'll give pies away in presentations. And I reached out to Craig, and I said, hey, I'm almost at the point where I may be ordering some pie lapel pins that say social media pie on them or something, but I just really love this image. It's not big images of the pins, it's smaller image, so you get a little bit of a snippet of what they look like, but it does show kind of the variety of different pins that he offers. And he talks about, you know, he has a headline, the power of a pin. I just thought that was a really interesting background in there. All right, so moving on here. This is Dr. Rita Fields, and Rita is based here in Metro Detroit, and she does a lot of talks and presentations. And Rita has an example of what I consider a geographical header. So if you're familiar with Metro Detroit, this is a picture of the city skyline of the city of Detroit. And you see the Renaissance Center right in the middle of the picture there. And Rita is really well known, you know, not just even Michigan, I think nationally and probably internationally as well. She's an awesome speaker. She spoke at TEDx Detroit a few years ago, and she earned her doctoral degree from Walsh, and she's just really inspirational. If you're not following her, follow her, because she's always posting really interesting things on LinkedIn. But I love that she is giving some love to Detroit in her header graphic here. So that's an example of a geographic header. So you could think about putting a picture of a headline, rather skyline for your hometown in your header graphic there. All right, moving on, we're now on to, I think this may be the last one. Yeah, save the best for last, Roy, on here. So Roy Sexton is a fellow marketer. Roy's super active in social media, and I see him everywhere I go online, and sometimes I even get the pleasure of seeing him in person. And Roy is a marketer who works in the legal industry, and he also does a couple other things. He's an author, a public speaker, community leader, and advocate for the arts. And I like how Roy's chosen an image which, you know, this is like a stock image, but it's very representative of the legal profession. I don't know what those books are about, but I'm sure they have tax code in them or something related to the industry and his employer, Clark Hill. So really nice example of a professional looking header image in the background that supports your business. So that's it, guys. These are just a few examples of header graphics on LinkedIn. And when I go back to my profile, if you want to change your header graphic, it's really easy. If you don't have one, if you've got that teal blue that I showed you earlier, let me see if I can click back. This is the example of what David had as his profile. Many people, I think actually most people have the teal blue, so don't feel bad if you have it. But now that you know you can change it, change it. And what you do is you click on this pencil icon that's just below the header bar there. When you click on the pencil icon, it's going to take you to this top, I think they call it the top card portion of your LinkedIn profile. And then right above here, you're going to see if you mouse over, it tells you, here's the exact dimensions you should use, 1584 by 396. When you click on that pencil icon, you can change the photo, you can delete what you have. You can even zoom in, zoom out, you know, straighten it if you need to. Now, what I do on my header image here is I actually create it using Canva. So I have the exact dimensions. I don't have to worry about things being cropped or looking funny here on the screen. I keep in mind that since I know mobile, my head is going to be in the middle, and desktop, my head is on the left side. I don't put any text in the left section or in the middle section. And I always like to put a marketing tip or a LinkedIn tip or something in my header graphic. And I will also periodically share, I'm just going to discard my changes because I didn't make any changes. I will periodically swap this out. So think about when you're driving on the side of, you're driving on the highway and you see a billboard on the side of the highway and it says McRibs now at McDonald's, and you drive by for a week and then you ignore it. And then the next week you drive by and Arby's has their roast beef sandwiches on special or something, whatever it is. And then you notice the billboard again. So same thing with this header image on your LinkedIn profile. If you have the same image and you never change it, people are going to eventually start to ignore it. So what I do is I will periodically change the text that I have on here. I do have this block, which is a color treatment that I use on my website for Meller marketing, and sometimes I move the block around. It's actually a stack of papers, and there's a rainbow. It goes from red to yellow to kind of this purple, magenta, pink color, blue, teal, green, but I'll sometimes shift that color image around so a little bit of different colors are showing there, and then I put a new tip on there, and then people start to pay attention to that again. So I think that's it. I don't think I had anybody coming on live, but that's okay, because this really was, I was doing this Facebook Live selfishly. I just really needed a break from doing my work. And now I'm going to reward my Facebook Live activity by giving myself lunch. So I think I've got some soup in the freezer that I'm going to heat up. I've got some Italian wedding soup, I think. And then, I don't know, I think I've got to do some more client work, get a couple proposals out, and then I am going to probably run some errands and get the kids from school. That's the life of an entrepreneur, guys. That's what I do when I'm at home here at Meller Marketing's home headquarters. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. I'm going to end this video now. And I'm going to tag the people on Facebook Live that I talked about in today's video. I'm also going to export this video, upload it to YouTube, and then I'm going to share the video on LinkedIn and maybe on Twitter as well. So if you missed it live and you're watching the playback, first of all, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel, because that helps viewership of my channel, and you'll get notification when I publish other videos to YouTube. And if you're liking this or following this on some other social network and you want some help with LinkedIn, do keep in mind that LinkedIn is an area of specialty for Meller Marketing. I help people and businesses with marketing and social media, and I specialize in LinkedIn, and I absolutely love working with clients on helping them unlock the power of LinkedIn. I work with individuals, I provide individual coaching, I do profile rewrites, and I do all done packages for you as well. And then I also offer team training, and I can do that team training virtually through a webinar or Skype, and I can also do the team training in person. If you visit my LinkedIn profile, you can see some comments and recommendations from clients I've worked with. And we're now pretty busy, actually. I'm booking out through December. I'm actually looking more towards January and February for future clients right now. So if you're interested, do message me. Would be happy to jump on a call and give you a free 15-minute evaluation, and we can talk about the packages and things I have to offer. And if you've used my services, would love it if you could comment back on this video and just tell people whether my services have been helpful to you and how have they helped you to unlock the power of LinkedIn. So that's it. I'm going to go get my soup for lunch here, and you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching.